这是一张我们初中生课本上出现过的元素周期表。我们很小的时候就知道，元素周期表里少部分是非金属，主要内容是金属，而且有相当多的部分都是我们从来没见过、我们新生过的元素，它最可能的就是元素。因此，在115号元素后，还有很多未知的元素。那这个行编号就可以理解。今天的话题就是讲115号元素。
Element 115 affects gravity. Element 115 produces its own gravitational energy. Its code name was LA 1000. That's what it was referred to off-site. Its purpose was supposed to be, again, this is just a code and deception, an unusual material, so now we can take it to a national lab. This is LA 1000 classified material. It's a very advanced armor that takes care of all weird questions. So, you immediately start operating on lies.
鲍勃拉扎，一位曾在51区 S4 基地工作过一段时间的空间动力科学家。他在20世纪80年代负责了关于外星飞碟反重力装置的部分逆向工程研发工作。在2018年的一次采访中，向公众透露了关于51区外星飞碟的科研机密。在这段离奇又真实的工作经历中，他目睹了作为科学家都觉得十分离谱的外星科技。而在他负责研究的领域板块，最核心部件就是飞碟的反重力发生器。这个发生器所需要的一种物质，是地球上无法自然存在的一种元素——第115号元素——铀。
My name's Bob Lazar. I'm known for working at a classified base known as S4 out in the Nevada desert near Area 51. And there, we reverse engineered alien spacecraft. And it's changed my life a lot. It's probably changed every aspect of it.
Positive or negative?
Well, for the most part, negative. I mean, it's really difficult to find positive aspects of that. I mean, I'm sure there are some here and there, but most of them were negative.
Did you ever get a piece of element 115 out of Los Alamos?
I don't know how much monitoring they do with me. I'm sure it's virtually none after all this time.
Hold on one
same
second.
thing.
Hold on 1 second. Let me. Do you have your phone on you?
Yes.
Let's at this point take our phone. Let me just throw them. Let me put them in the ground over there. I'll turn mine off. Are they trying to shake you down to find the 115 that you said 30 years ago that you got out of the lab? People are going to ask that.
Yeah.
So let's just address that. If you feel comfortable addressing it.
No.
Do you not feel comfortable addressing that?
No, I don't feel comfortable addressing it.
2次交谈，鲍勃都没有正面的回应他是否拿走了115号元素，而正因为如此，他的家遭受了2次，包括 FBI 在内的联合突击调查。而之所以被 FBI 调查，原因是来自于30多年前他的一次匿名采访。
Area 51, one of the
most secretive spots on the planet. It's located on the northeast edge of the Nevada test site and is said to be where numerous top-secret weapons systems have been tested over the years. According to some UFO researchers, it's also where the government is test flying alien spacecraft.
Well, there's several, actually 9 flying saucers, flying discs, that are out there of extraterrestrial origin. I was involved mainly in propulsion and the power source.
Where did we get these saucers? How did they come into the hands of the government?
I haven't the slightest idea, and you have to understand the information is very compartmentalized, and I was only allowed information that pertained particularly to what I was involved in. The propulsion system is a gravity propulsion system. The power source is an antimatter reactor. This technology does not exist at all. In fact, one of the reasons that I'm going forward with this information, it's not only a crime against the American people, it's a crime against the scientific community, which I've been part of for some time. We're actively trying to duplicate these systems, yet they are in existence now and basically in the hands of the government. I've had my life threatened by them, my wife's life threatened by them, and I mean, I don't know where else you can go from there.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us. Pretty interesting stuff you've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, more news in just a moment.
Now, first we go to Dan Rather in Beijing for a look ahead at the CBS Evening News.
CBS Evening News from China. We'll have extensive coverage.
They identified themselves as FBI, and they said, "You're Bob Lazar, right?" And then, one of them got on the radio saying, "Yeah, he's here." Apparently, they also had my house staked out, and they were deciding whether or not to go there. The conveyor belt of vehicles and agents and police did not stop. The whole thing was like a Twilight Zone episode. They came in and then they said, "There'll be a few other people coming here. Just got a couple questions to ask you." In a short time, the street filled up with vehicles and the building completely filled with agents. It was really something else.
Did they identify themselves initially as?
Yeah, it was FBI, identified themselves, then came in state police and a few other agencies. I don't remember who, but there were a lot, an awful lot.
They gridded off the building. I mean, obviously they're looking for something.
Yeah. And what they said, they were looking for some paperwork, an old order from 2 years ago.
鲍勃的痛苦遭遇跨越了30年之久，在这30年的时间里，他被监视、被控制，甚至差点付出了生命。他的生活极其不自在。加上2次 FBI 的联合突击调查，充分说明了鲍勃掌握着他们十分在意的东西，是飞碟图纸，是科研资料，还是所谓的115号元素。
The fact that there is another intelligent, technologically advanced civilization, we have some of their objects.
That is really the pinnacle. That there's another civilization in existence that's intelligent, that we know about. And we actually have artifacts from them that can operate. So, I mean, that's a big, big deal. However, the science and the technology can change us dramatically. It can change the way the entire world operates, the economy, everything. So those stick out in my mind as being critically important.
And we have it.
Oh, we have them. You don't have to believe it, but we do. They had one of the reactors out of the crafts, which was an antimatter reactor. I was given a demonstration on how it worked, things that it did, and the physics of it. The thing they were most interested in is duplicating the reactors without using this element 115, which is of course impossible. They were trying to, and there have been projects before that, just trying to use a normal nuclear generator fueled with plutonium, and it was really a futile attempt. Like I've said before, that's a crime not to tell humanity about that, but that's a separate thing.
meaning that there is something different in science dramatically that we're not allowed to know.
Right. Right.
That is a true statement.
Yeah, that's a true statement.
关于115号元素在地球公开的时间，我查了一下，是2016年，由国际纯粹与应用化学联合会宣布115号元素为化学新元素，代号为铂。此物质在自然界无法独立存在。铂的发现使科学家把钙离子以1/10光速的速度撞击镁元素所形成的一个重原子，其衰变期为20秒，经过5次阿尔法衰变，就变成了105号元素镀的同位素。总之，想要在地球呢造出铂单质，是一件非常非常难的事情。
Element 115 was what we would call the fuel, what provided the power for the reactor to work.
What happens with gravity and 115?
Element 115 affects gravity. Element 115 produces its own gravitational energy. It had a very specific manufacturing technique. I don't really know how that information came to be. Fuel is in the form of just a three-dimensional thin triangle, little rounded edges. It's somewhat copper in color, that reddish brownish. The way this is manufactured is really critical. It's not just cut out of a heavy sheet of material. A cylinder of this material is taken. This is machined into a cone. So this is, the outer part is shaved off using a lathe or something like that until you have a three-dimensional cone. Once you have the cone, it's sliced like this. And these slices become that. Now even this starting piece, a solid cylinder, is not even a solid cylinder. It consists of many discs stacked up. And these are fused together to produce that. And all of these steps are necessary to produce a successful triangle that makes fuel. So actually, if you were to look at how this came to be, this would actually be pieces of all these discs that were cut at unusual angles. Now apparently if you don't do all this, that doesn't work. So unfortunately, that's the extent of my knowledge on this. This makes no sense anywhere, but that's what it takes for it to operate. Now with the alien technology that was present in the craft, it takes that basis, that extra gravitational energy, in a small reactor, amplifies it through the equipment there, directs it through the waveguides and archways into the emitters, and allows it to propel the craft and manipulate the gravity wave for whatever use they want. It's the thing I termed the sport model. Underneath this floor, there are three large cylindrical devices. These are on mounts that allow them to completely swivel up to 180 degrees and in 360 degree rotation. Directly above each one is a small rectangular object. This is on the floor above. And these are the gravity amplifiers themselves. Looking down from the top, you'd have the center. In the very center, there is a small reactor. Surrounding this in 3 equally spaced areas are the amplifiers. So this is looking at it sideways, this is looking at it down from the top. And under these amplifiers, underneath, on the floor below, are the gravity emitters. So it's the reactor here powering the gravity amplifiers. Gravity amplifiers output goes into the gravity emitters at the bottom, and the resulting gravity beam or anti-gravity wave can be pretty much put anywhere you want it to. There was another level up here. Now I had access and was permitted to view and look at the operation of this main level with the gravity amplifiers and the level below, the gravity emitters. There is a level above which consisted of these 2 areas that I'm not all that familiar with. I assume these to be some sort of navigational engine. People call these large black rectangular areas on the top portholes. I believe they were some planar sensor array that just took in information from the surrounding area, whether it be patterns of stars or what have you. And there was their version of a computer or something to make determinations here that takes input from those sensors and then let the craft know how to orient itself and where it was in space. So that's what I assumed to be up there. I don't know for a fact. Again, that was not part of my job, and I was only led to believe that. The center antenna is really an extension of the reactor in the center, and that's a waveguide, which allows the emission of the gravity wave, which forms kind of a heart shape over the whole craft. That's how it creates its distortion. These gravity emitters can be swung all the way up to 180 degrees. And this allows the craft to essentially stand on 2 of them and hover, while this one swings up and creates a distortion in front of it, allowing the craft to slide forward. So that's how their low power mode, Omicron configuration operate. The Delta configuration uses all 3, and unlike science fiction movies where you see flying saucers just flying along like that, they actually fly belly first. The craft flies along, leaves the atmosphere of the planet, it turns its belly to the destination, the 3 amplifiers focus in on the destination, and that's how it proceeds. So that's basically the operation of it and overall how things were laid out inside the craft. Whether it's a propeller plane or a jet or a rocket, it throws something out the back, either high-speed exhaust or a large volume of air. It's an action-reaction force. The action is you throw something out the back and it moves you forward. That's how everything works. This is the first time there's a craft it's a reactionless craft. It's a field propulsion craft. And what it does is it creates a distortion in space and time in front of it, where space actually bends. And my analogy to that has always been, put a bowling ball in the middle of your bed, and then a foot in front of it, take your fist and push down on the mattress. The bowling ball will roll towards it. And that's exactly how the craft works. It creates a distortion right in front of it, and the craft falls forward.
So there's a different physics that we're not...
Well, the science that explains how the technology works. I mean, it's all encompassed as one thing, alien technology and science.